Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is the chat room. I will be bringing along one guest once a month, give or take. We will be talking kind of more about their situation, both just in general life, their YouTube, and kind of just something they're interested in at the moment. This is the first episode, hopefully of many, and hopefully of not that many repeating guests. But knowing my group, it will be Jace about once every 3 months. So,
Nice.
our guest, as I've just mentioned, is Tellix, aka Jace. You want to talk about yourself for a bit?
Yeah,
Introduce
I'd
people to
love
you.
to.
They don't know you.
Wow. What can I say? I'm Jace. I'm a chick magnet. No. I'm Jace. I'm Tellix on YouTube and socials. I don't know. I like long walks on the beach. No, I'm just a kid. I'm from Canberra. Been there all my life. I have many different interests that we'll get in today. I'm just happy to be here, honestly. I'm happy to help out, spend some time with my mate, make some good content. I do have my own channel, which I'm neglecting at this stage of my life,
Yeah, we will get onto that.
but if you want to look at that, I have some stuff there, and some stuff is planned to come out, so it'll be out shortly. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
me.
So Jace's channel will be linked in the description, as will all the guests that we have on that each episode. The guests will have their link in the description. So we will start by kind of going into a game that we both play, Valorant. We had what was it, Champions go on recently?
We had the big tournament of the year, Champions, which the storyline of which was just lots of upsets.
I didn't watch a lot of it. I watched a bit of the start and then kind of drifted away from it. Got kind of busy with uni and streaming near the end of it.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, there were a lot of upsets and a lot of drama. So basically, for me, the biggest storyline throughout was well, the team that ended up winning from Europe was a Turkish team called Ascend.
Oh,
And
I saw some of their games.
in the group stage, they played a Brazilian team called Vivo Stars, and they actually lost. They lost 2-1. But Vivo Keyed, they used an illegal camera. Cypher, a character in the game, has a camera, and they put it in a spot that was deemed illegal by Valorant, which apparently helped them win Breeze.
Question with that is like, why is that camera decided to be illegal? Because I didn't know there was an illegal camera decipher. Why was that camera illegal? Do you know that, or is it kind of just?
It can't be shot is the simple answer.
Oh, okay.
It basically gets clipped through a little wall, and it gives not only it almost like clips vision through, so you can see into caves, which is it's a part of the map on Breeze. But it also can't be shot. But the issue with this, okay, is that Valorant have known about this bug. Riot, they've known about this bug for a very long time. They've known. I believe it was discovered after Reykjavik, which was many months ago.
Yeah, that sounds a long time ago.
Basically, there's this tournament. The previous tournament was Masters Berlin, and the tournament preceding that was Masters Reykjavik. And at Masters Reykjavik, I believe they knew about it. It was a known bug, and they decided not to patch it. They've done nothing about it, and I believe it was outlined in like some obscure guidelines that it was unable to be. It was a banned camera, which I didn't know about. I don't think any of the players knew about. Any which way. Vivo they win the map, they celebrate, it's all done, and then after the game's finished, so they've left the stage, all the presentation's done, all this. Riot Valorant, they release a announcement, a statement, saying that they are giving the win to Ascend because of the illegal camera. And there was complete uproar over Reddit, Twitter, everywhere you went, people were just saying, this is ridiculous. Mainly, for me at least, it's because they've got one of my favorite players in Heat, he's like the Brazilian tenth. He is so excellent. And what they did, Riot, they decided to actually postpone the tournament for a duration to discuss whether it was a fair treatment to, even though Vivo had won the match, it seemed drastic to completely say no. Ascend wins. Like I understand people watching might not be completely understanding the gravity of
but it's like an interesting
situation
thing in which it's one moment. Like I don't know if it's done across multiple rounds. Like
it was a few rounds. It was I think it was 6 rounds. The camera was placed.
6 out of what would be a minimum of 13 rounds, or less than half the game they used it, and to have that entire game wiped basically, and like the scoreline's being reversed. So all that hard work, like a single camera can change like a lot of the game, but it wouldn't reverse the result. And I think
it seemed drastic for that to be the punishment.
Especially when like if the players didn't know about it, then therefore Riot haven't done a good enough job in explaining to them about like maybe the players knew and kind of like in the heat of the moment, like it would have been third game. Was the third round?
Yeah.
So round. Maybe in the heat of the moment they just forgot about it, and at that stage, that's a drastic thing. Going like, oh, you forgot about the rule. Okay, your team lost because of it.
Yeah, it seemed very unfair. And one thing we should know is that Vivo were drastic underdogs. This at the stage was like I struggle to think of another match that was more of an upset than Vivo Key beating Ascend. Like Ascend went on to win the whole tournament, and they would have lost, which is it's crazy. But yeah, what they decided to do is after their postponement of Champions, they said that they would replay Breeze, but Ascend would receive a 9-round handicap. Not a 9-round, a 7-round handicap. Sorry, a 7-round handicap.
So they would basically have halfway to winning.
Yes, Ascend started up 7-0, and the brilliant thing, well, it's brilliant, but it's like you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like it's annoying, but it's also great. Is that Vivo Key brought it back to 9-9 on Breeze after being down 0-7 immediately. Unfortunately, they ended up losing. I think it was 13-11 was the final standpoint. And what pissed me off and pissed so many people off was the way that Ascend acted after they won, yelling, celebrating, being up and about. They were obnoxious. They were arrogant. It was.
Well, I guess like when you're in that space, when this is your like career, it's your job, and I guess in their minds, like you could all, if you take it like from a point of view, like where we are, we're not in, like in it, and we're just like they won and they nearly came back winning after a 7-0 defeat. You shouldn't have acted that way. But like when they had just lost and been told they cheated, basically, then you, in my head, like if I'm in their situation, I would probably be a bit like cocky with it, because if I wasn't told specifically why we have to replay it, it was just they cheated, then I would react in a cocky way going, oh, we beat the cheaters. Like, that's the mindset. If they were told explicitly, then yeah, that's kind of off, especially because they brought it back so much. I think it's important to, because we don't know exactly what they were told. Like, I think it's not good for them. I think if they were told in more detail, and if they were like, okay, we didn't know that, then them acting that way I think is out of line. But I also think if they were told like nothing, then it's not that big of a deal, because it's their career, it's their like livelihood. They're playing this game for a living. They want to win. If they've just been told, we're replaying this map because they did an illegal tactic, then that's all you're told. I'm kind of like, you probably shouldn't, like, I haven't seen how like cocky they were, but like maybe
it wasn't graceful. It wasn't graceful.
Like
it rubbed me the wrong way. It was I understand what you're saying, that it was like objectively in their own minds they'd be like, cool, justice prevailed, we took out the cheaters. But I mean, given the situation, and honestly,
us knowing how much we know, no, I would not say that's probably the way to go about it. But it's also like my head, like I want to know. Yeah, that's fair. I want to know more about what they knew and kind of what the overall feeling was.
I think the situation was very transparent because like everyone in the surrounding community had a very good, like I had a very good understanding of it, and I'm like, I would assume that the Ascend guys, being a direct, I guess, like proprietor of the situation would have a better understanding than I would.
That's
but
fair.
it's look, it rubbed me the wrong way, and Ascend went on to win, which resulted in Twitch being swarmed with fuck Ascend.
Yeah.
Very much the heels of Valorant right now are Ascend.
Do you think that if they hadn't have won, this would be as big of a issue, or do you think it would have kind of just been a bit more swept under?
It would have been. It was massive even before they won. I mean,
but do you think if they went on to lose like the next round, so they didn't even make the final, they got like swept the next round, do you think it would be as big? Or do you think it's because they continued playing a part and were in like close games that people were kind of drawing back to like, oh, they should have lost that game, they shouldn't be here, and kind of getting more negative heat?
I think it wasn't directly what happened to Ascend that caused the heat. It was what happened to Vivo Keat, because I didn't talk about that, but after they went down, they went into like the lower bracket of their group, and they lost to Team Vikings. I believe it was Team Vikings, who, with all due respect to Team Vikings, great Valorant team, were not expected to do well. Were expected to do really poorly. And then Heat, who basically their star player, just unbelievably talented, he was taken for an interview afterwards, and he said essentially something along the lines of, they killed our morale. We had beaten Ascend. We had done it. And after they took that away from us, we lost the motivation to play. And it was just devastating to hear, because you were saying earlier about Ascend, how it's their livelihood, and it's the exact same thing for Vivo Keat. And they, in their minds, have done the work, have had it unfairly stripped, and it's Riot's fault for not patching it and not being transparent enough in letting them know that this is an illegal maneuver. But regardless of that, I feel like it didn't really matter after that what Ascend did, because they were so beloved, Vivo Keat, after like being a giant killer, that I mean, it made it more of a story that they won, of course, but they would have been heels if they lost the next round, or if they didn't. So
I think that kind of statement about it, like, really derailed our morale and derailed us playing. Like, that's kind of, I could see that happening in like any like sport as well. Like, if you beat the team that's like predicted to win everything, then get told.
They weren't predicted to win everything, I should say. Ascend did really well to win it. They were not. Like,
I guess I'll take this into like the Premier League, because that's kind of the way. Like, let's say you're one of the teams in buying relegation, and let's say you beat one of the top 6 teams, and then get told, "Oh, your goal was actually offside. We're retaking it back after the game."
Yeah.
And let's say
it did kill.
Yeah. And you may have been winning like 1-0, and we're like absolutely like dominating the game somehow, and then get told, "Oh no, it's just a draw," or have been told, "Oh, you have to replay it," and that could go the complete opposite way. And it's like, yes, if you manage to beat someone, and that's such a big thing on your morale, going like, no one expected us to do this, and we've done it, and then get told, "Oh yeah, that doesn't count, you gotta redo it," and then lose. Especially, like, the other thing is, you had such a big disadvantage and you nearly brought it back. Like, you should have beat them. Just the fact that I didn't see the game, and you just tell me they were back 7 rounds, they brought back 11-13. That's insane.
Yeah, well, they had it tied up 9-9, which was just so epic.
Like,
but
that's an insane thing. And the fact that, like, it's so great that they managed to bring it back. And it's just, like, with their morale, it's like, they know they could have been and they should have been them. And to get told that, no, that doesn't count, kind of will derail everything from it. Like, it's so unlucky for them, because they probably, just based off that, they probably would have gone quite far. Like, if a set managed to win it, they could have gone decently far.
That's what we're saying. Like, it wasn't super popular. Do you know the term thug finals? No. Basically, in Super Smash Brothers competitive tournaments, it's a term that means the winner of the main bracket will face someone that, like after they've won it all, they'll face someone to determine almost like a pseudo winner or like a quote unquote true winner. And people were, it wasn't like abundant, but there were some people calling for a thug finals with Ascend putting up not the true title, but like an honorary, like bragging rights title against a custom match against Vivo Kid. Yeah.
Yep. That would be
which
like great. Cool. Yeah, that would been what? That would get them up to 8 different games probably. We play the cross of it, which would be like insane. Like amount for them to play. Like, I think that would have been great for like the fans to see, probably to Viva, if they managed to win that, to kind of have that like victory over them set in stone, in a sense, to actually have that. The negative you have there is that because the like morale is so bad after that loss, they just may have not come up for it. Even though they're like, we want to beat them, we want to get like revenge, they just might not be invested in the game. They might just go, oh, we might just get screwed again.
Yeah. There were definitely some logistical issues with having a Thugs finals. I mean, let alone the fact that they lost in the group stage meant that they were already home basically.
Yeah.
Like what Riot were doing were, as soon as you got kicked out, they were booking you a flight like the next day. So, but that's like, it was like because of COVID and shit, and like you didn't want to stay overseas because the sooner you get back, sooner you isolate, sooner you can get back to your family. Yeah, but I think that next tournament, if they meet up, it is going to be so hyped.
That game is going to be like a big like event inside of a big event, I think. Because you're gonna have all the like hardcore fans wanting to see that.
Oh, I'm so hyped for it. Yeah, it's gonna be great. But yeah, that was the big storyline out of it. The other things that happened were, there was a team called Crew Esports, who they're from Latin America, I think. And I think they were the only team to, hold on, let me just look this up. Crew Esports Valorant. I believe they were the only team from Latin America to go to champs. To go to champs, and they basically had the tournament of their life. They took out Sentinels in the group stage.
Oh, wow.
So they did that. They took out a Fnatic.
Yep.
Who were having an incredible tournament as well. They were like, they're a weird one because they weren't in like the top tier. Like top tier, you had like your Sentinels, your Gambit Esports, like the winner of the past majors, and Fnatic were like the next tier. Like they made it to the finals of the first one, and they were having a great tournament. But yeah, Bruce played really well, beat them, and I urge you to watch their game against Gambit, which is the best Valorant match I have ever seen. It was a best of 3. It went all 3 maps. It was like triple overtime on the last one. Gambit were the favourites to win this tournament, and they took them all the way. It was so awesome. It was Crew played incredible, and they were definitely the like after Sentinels got out, people really lost interest in the tournament because they didn't have like something to get along with. They hated Ascend. People didn't really want us to see Ascend win, but they didn't have anyone to truly cheer for.
Yeah.
But when Crew got on this run, like there were a bunch of pros, especially in America, in NA, they were saying, I'm going to keep watching because of Crew, and they had a great run, a great tournament. They did really well. But yeah, Sentinels failed. That was a storyline, but it was really like outside of the stuff with Vivo Keyed, which was a real downer. It was a super fun tournament. Just anyone watching at home, go find the Crew versus GAMBIT match semi-finals. When it was live on Twitch, it had over 1 million concurrent viewers. I think the final had like max 500. So it was so epic. I mean, really, do yourself a favor, go watch that match. It's the best Valorant match I've ever seen. It was
if I can find it, I'll either put a card up or I'll link it in the description for you guys to find. I think we can end the Valorant talk with that.
Yep.
And we'll move into kind of another tournament. We'll head into the cricket.
Yeah.
We'll start with the Big Bash, and we'll then head into the Ashes.
Okay.
Big Bash is currently on hiatus as time of recording this. The next game is Heat Thunder on Saturday night. So, well, tonight. Either tonight or tomorrow night, with Thunder Heat playing.
It's tomorrow, but I could be wrong.
So the current time recording this is the 18th of December. So the table has Sixers up on top, Scorchers second, Stars third, Strikers fourth, Hurricanes, Thunder, Heat, and Renegades to round out that top 8. I've watched like most of the games. I've kind of dropped off of like being hardcore looking at it, as I was like the first few games. I still have it on and going through and stuff. What's been like because we're both big cricket fans, and I assume I go for Thunder, you go for Scorchers. Yep. My team isn't doing the greatest at the moment. Yours doing quite well.
Surprisingly well, Scorchers, yeah.
So, like, what's your current thoughts on how the Big Bash is going? Like, is there any teams that are like looking to you like they are going to win this right now? Is it also how are you feeling teams are playing? Because for me, I think Renegades are playing quite well at the moment. They're just waiting on their big players to come back. I think Finch and Marsh is going to help that team a lot to have that experience at the top.
It depends how Finch comes back, because last Big Bash he struggled, to say the least. Yeah. I think he top scored with 14 runs, I want to say.
Yeah, he got the best of seasons.
He got out for, I think, 4 ducks, 5 ducks. And generally, it was just a meme that he'd get it out in the most ridiculous of ways.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great tournament, but he had a pretty good World Cup.
That's the thing. That's why I was leaning towards Renegades doing quite well in this tournament, because I thought Finch was going to fire. And I thought that their line, with Richardson there for the full tournament as well, I think having him as a leader of your attack, with Patterson as well, I think they have a really good squad. They're just waiting because they need Finch back, I think. And I think if they had Sean Marsh or Finch at the start, they probably would have picked up a win. Like
they won the first game, right?
Yeah, but one of those next 2 games, I reckon they might have picked up a win.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, yeah.
I was going to say, I think Harvey's done quite well for him.
That is exactly what I was about to say. Mackenzie Harvey.
But
great talent.
I think they kind of need that experience hand with him. And like, I can't remember who said it on KO, so Fox. They were saying Harper moved, I think it was Haddon, saying Harper moved down the order. And Harper hasn't tried moving down, and I think that might be a good thing to have him do, moving down to maybe 4 or 5. Have Finch and Harvey open, which I think they'll go Finch and Harper, because previously they've done that and moved Harvey down. Yeah. I think Finch, Harvey into Madison, Harper for the moment, and then putting maybe Marsh at 3. Possibly. The problem they're having is they have too many guys, like, because Harvey's playing so well opening, I don't think you can drop him from that spot. And the problem you're going to have is when Marsh comes back and if Finch is playing well, well, you're not going to drop Finch anyway. He's the strategy point captain. You won't drop Madison, he's your captain. So you've got that top three kind of set now with Finch. In my opinion, Finch, Madison, and Harvey as that top three. So where does Sean Marsh fit in that? Where does Harper fit in that? And now it's becoming a situation that they kind of wouldn't mind the limited overs tour, so they lose Finch, so it's an easier choice. So they can actually insert Marsh.
I mean, they do have two like young middle orders in Jake Fraser McGurk and what's the other guy's name? James Seymour.
Yep.
I
think Seymour might drop out.
I think they'll both drop out when Marsh and Finch are fit. The question is where you play Harvey because he's in such great nick. I honestly think that what they might do is have
also, before
Sean
you
Marsh
go through
float.
this, Sean Marsh doesn't come back till the new year, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's not super far away.
Yeah, but they will play. I think they have 2 or 3 games with Finch, and then they get Sean Marsh.
Yeah.
Which I think the thing that's gonna be big, I think, is the possibility of having Finch back at 3, having Sean Marsh open with Harvey.
Well, I don't think you'd want Marsh opening. I think what you'd want him to do is sort of float around.
So like Steve Smith in the World Cup, where he'll kind of float around that middle order.
Yeah. So if you lose an early wicket, because Marsh can smack the ball. Don't get me wrong, but he more of a sort of anchor. I'd put it as to tick the run rate over.
I would argue that's him and Madison also kind of fill that role. I think they could both fill the anchor. But I don't think Madison's the power hitter. Like he can, like Sean Marsh can. Like they can both power hit, but I don't think they're power hitters as much as what I think Finch is. I think Harper and Harvey aren't kind of more towards the power hitter side. But I think they play a more like kind of Maxwell style, which they'll just play.
Flareful.
The flareful hitting.
Yeah. So it's I agree completely, and I think until Harvey shows some lapse in form, I think you got to keep him open and give him as many balls as possible.
I agree.
Harper, I think, is he's opened there for 2 seasons now, so I don't think they'll drop him. Finch did play at 3 sometimes last season, so I think like he'd be happy to go there. I mean, Sean Marsh again. If you lose an early wicket, I think you send him in. If you don't need to use him, you can just like shuffle him down to like 6.
Finch in the power surge as well could be a bit. The problem I think they're going to have is Marsh, Finch, and Madison are great top order players. And it's going to be a struggle, I think, to fit them in and have them all playing to the best they can. That I think if they manage to get 2 out of 3 firing, they're going to pick up some massive wins.
Yeah, I mean they've got a nice squad. It's better than I've seen it in a lot of years. So it's promising. It's promising for the Renegades. I don't think they'll be there come the business end of the season, but I thought they could make it interesting.
I thought initially they would get 4th or 5th because I thought Finch was going to play a fair amount, and I thought Finch was in good enough form to carry them to it. I think they're bottom of the table now, 1 win from 3, which isn't bad. Their net run rate is negative 1.2, I think. At least what it looks like when I have it up. So it isn't the greatest at the moment, but I think they have a chance of maybe getting 5th. Because it's so early on, they have a chance at 5th. I think I don't really see them finishing 8th, I think. I don't think they'll finish at bomb. I don't know, I just don't feel like they will. But I think it's interesting in what their bang order is going to look like. I think that's the most intrigue I have for the Renegades. It's what will their bang order look like when they have Finch and Marsh back.
Yeah,
that is the interesting point for me for the Renegades. I'm intrigued with what their decision is going to be.
It's a nice problem to have. You've got a lot of talented people there.
Yeah. So we'll move. I guess we'll just move up the ladder to the Heat. Heat won their last game, so they're 1 from 2 as well. But the net run rate is a lot better than the Renegades, just in the negative. So what's your kind of feeling on how the Heat's going?
I liked them at the start. I had this conversation with you. I liked them. I thought they were coming super under the radar. I liked the look of their signing Duckett. He impressed me from the clips I saw when he was playing over in England. But it just hasn't really translated. They've looked. I have to be honest. They have looked good, but they just haven't had the results.
They haven't looked as bad as I thought they would. Like I didn't think before this. I thought Heat would probably go and finish last. And I'll be honest. I think it's probably between them and Renegades to finish last. And maybe Thunder. I think the bottom 3 teams now are probably the 3.
I'd agree with that being the bottom 3 as it stands.
The only way the Hurricanes go down towards it, I think, is if Wade gets called up to the test squad. But I don't see that happening.
Hurricanes are an interesting one. We'll get to them later. But for the Heat, they've got some really promising players. I mean, Xavier Bartlett this year has been phenomenal. He's been bowling opening in the power play. He's been bowling at the death. He had that brilliant innings against the Scorchers where he nearly beat us on his own bat. He's been superb. I mean, I've been super impressed with him. They've looked good in patches. Heaslett's had some really nice innings.
I think the big thing is they just, like I said this at the beginning, I think they need one of Lynn O'Brien to fire to get him up to a high total. Because I think where the Heat will go well is with Mujib in a high total, they're going to force them to go attacking against their other bowlers. And I think the Heat bowling attack is probably good strength of theirs when they get the runs. And I reckon
it's an underrated bowling attack.
Yeah, I reckon a high total, like a 190 total, like 180 plus, if they get that consistently with Lynn O'Brien hitting like a quick fire 40 off 20 or something, like in that power play to allow like Heaslett or whoever's coming in next to kind of take their time a bit and let them get the wicket and then start firing near the back end. I think that's going to be where they shine. Because Mujib is going to be so unplayable when you're needing to go at like 10 and over.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds obvious, but like outside of Rashid, I think he's the best bowler in the BBL. I'm trying to think of like someone else that.
I think in terms of like currently playing, he probably is up there. I think I would say Lachlan is probably up there because of the amount of wickets he's taken, and I think when he was playing, he doesn't play Big Bash. He's not signed with anyone at the moment. I think when he was playing for Big Bash, he was bowling well. He had the one season with Heat that he didn't do the greatest, but I think he's probably been one of the great Big Bash bowlers. I do think at the moment it's probably Rashid, Mujib, and then
Sam's is class. Both Richardsons are class.
I think I wouldn't put Sam's up there because I think when you look at Rashid and Mujib, they pick up wickets and don't go for as many runs most times. I think Sam's can have games where he'll go for like 40 runs off 3 overs.
He can be expensive, but I think he's a wicket taker.
Yeah, he's a class bowler, but I'm thinking in top 3, I probably wouldn't have him top 3.
Who would be your third?
I think if I'm looking at the moment, I think Zahir Khan deserves to get mentioned as a possible one up there, just because of how good he's bowling at the moment. I think, but then when
some good matches, I guess.
But when you look at it like in longevity and stuff, I can't put him up there when Rashid's done for so long and Mujib's been doing it for quite a long time. I think you've probably got to go with. I think I like Kane. Like I like Kane Richardson being up there because I think if he was with a team that was performing better more consistently, he would probably be a lot higher up in the wickets because I think he'll take more when the bang's done better and the other bowlers are helping him. I think. I wouldn't put anyone from. It's hard because I think Ty probably wouldn't be a bad mention in it. I think he's done quite well.
Another but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I think those two are probably up there. I think Rashid's, for me, is a long way forward.
Yeah, he's so class.
I think Mujib is there. I think I would probably put Kane at the moment without going too in-depth in it. Like, I think eventually Tanvir Singh might be up there. Because, like, he's bowling well.
No bias whatsoever.
Look, I think he's our best bowler at Thunder. I'll be honest.
Do you want to talk about the Thunder now?
Oh yeah, we can head to the Thunder. I would say Hales hasn't done that well. which I kind of said before. I don't think he was going to do the greatest. I didn't think he would be all the best. Our bowling hasn't been that bad, and Ross has done quite well, and Billings hasn't been too shy either. I just think us losing Kawaja was such a big blow, because Kawaja gives us that like stability up the top that allows, I think, House to go for it with utter freedom. Because as much as like Gilks is playing well and Whiteman hasn't really gone off to the stars,
Whiteman's been poor.
I would like, because he was playing so well for WA heading into this, which should carry that on. I think we need one of those top 3 to fire in one of our next few games to give them that confidence. Like, I think for me, I would love it to be Gilks, because I think because he's the youngest one out of 3, if he gets a big innings, that it might not help us right now, but it'll help us in the future having him have this like big innings. I think if Hales fires, then we'll move up the table. I think with Cutting and Sam's in that lower middle order, we just need that top order to get us firing to a good start, to allow Cutting and Sam's to come in and just kind of play their shots, possibly in the final 5 overs in the power surge. I think our bowling attack's going well. I think Sanger's done quite well. I think Sam's hasn't done too poorly. I think Green's done alright with the captaincy. I think I don't think he's bowling as well as he has in previous years. Like, he hasn't been as like economic or taking wickets, but I think he's still going at it well. Cullen hasn't bowled as much as you would probably expect him to, but I think that kind of just means our normal bowlers are bowling well. Who's our other bowlers? We do have
Sandu?
Sandu's actually done quite well.
Surprisingly so.
Yeah, well, he played well for, it was either Queensland or Tassie, whichever state he's signed with at the moment. He was playing well for them before. So he's actually, like, he's come into this with form. He's actually continued that form in the Big Bash quite well. And we do get Mahmood from the England Lions soon. And he's like that injection of pace. So I think that'll help us go up the table. I do think it's more reliant on our batting, though. I think our Thunder's bowling is their strength at the moment, I think. Because I think all of our bowlers do a job. And I think with our batting, to me, it feels like we're relying on Billings and Ross now. And I think we need one of those top 3 to take some of that responsibility.
I think you're really missing Ferguson. I think that's a.
I remember when we
it.
delisted him, I thought that was the biggest mistake. Because at that time, I thought Kawaja was going to go back into be back into international, play more international cricket, because he was playing well. So, okay, if Kawaja goes, we don't have anyone that I trust. Because Hales is good and all, but I don't trust him like I would Kawaja or Ferguson to win us a game.
Yeah, a little inconsistent for sure.
Yeah, I think Ross and Billings is trying to fill that Ferguson Kawaja role. But Billings is batting at 4, but by the time he gets in, well, either in a very bad predicament or we're too late on for him to kind of help balance the innings, I guess would be the word. So I think we need a better. I think the simple thing is, if Kawaja didn't do so well for Queensland and get picked, it'll be a lot easier for us. But he got picked, and rightly so. I think we just need someone in that top 3 that will kind of bat through the innings. And we just don't have that at the moment.
I agree completely. I agree completely.
So we'll head up to the Hurricanes now, as I just talked about Thunder for a bit. What's been your thoughts for Hurricanes so far? They are sitting 5th with 1 win from 3 games, as is every team that's on the top 3.
Hurricanes, I think, will make the top 4. And they are just, they're so hard to pick. I think it's like the top 5 make finals, right?
Yeah, top 5.
Because 5 is 4. Yeah, they'll be there, but they are so inconsistent. They are so reliant on Matthew Wade and Darcy Short, and if those 2 play, you can talk about your Stoinis and your Maxwells. I don't think there's a more destructive pair than Wade and Short.
I think when they're both firing, yes. When only one is, the one thing is when Hurricanes faced Sixers, so when Wade made that 9, Short just wasn't scoring. Like he was struggling to rotate strike. It kind of felt like Short was like out of touch. He wasn't playing well. He was not in good nick, and Wade's in like this excellent nick. And I think all they're relying on is one of them to go big. It's just when they lose Wade early now, as they did in the last game, they lost Wade early, and then kind of Short couldn't go onto fire. They kind of just derailed and ended up losing.
Yeah. They're very reliant on those two. But the thing is, if you're going to be relying on those on two people, they're a good two.
Those are two good ones.
I mean, you mentioned Wade's winning against the Sixers, which he was just unplayable that day. Yeah. You could have bowled a fucking Jaffa, going a perfect Yorker, going on to take out and start barreling leg stump, but he would have found some way to ramp it, scoop it. Fucking, he'd get down on his bloody tummy and pull shot it, bro. Yeah. Like he would have done anything to make it cross that boundary. And I mean, he got out
93.
Yeah, in like the power surge, just trying to do a super big shot. I mean, they were lucky they got him because he could have broken Stoinis' record that day. He was incredible. But yeah, I think Hurricanes, they get everyone fit, they get Meredith back, they've got a really solid bowling lineup.
Yeah.
I've really liked that, what's the dude's name? Tom Rogers. He's looked great. I haven't been too familiar with his work, but this year he's been a pleasant surprise. He's been really good.
They have a Sandeep as well, don't they?
They've got Sandeep, they've got, I think Paris is injured now, but he was playing well.
Yeah, picked up that injury.
But yeah, promising from
I'll continue this moving forward because we've been talking for about 40 minutes. And initially, this was meant to be a 20-minute video. So you guys got a lot more time. This is becoming a podcast length with just the two of us.
We'll blast through these last ones.
Yeah, so strikers, I think, playing well. I think they'll probably finish fifth.
Too reliant on Rashid.
Yeah, I think they'll still finish top 5, though.
Probably, but I don't think it's because of how good strikers are, it's because of how poor the bottom 3 are.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the top 3 teams are the big dogs in this, so Sixers, Scorchers, and Stars.
One of them will be the winners for sure.
Yeah. I went into the season thinking Stars would win because they would have all their all the limited overs players, so they would have Zampa, Stoinis, and Max for the full tournament, as that's such a big in for them. I think Scorchers... I don't know. I think Scorchers are going to be up there. I just don't know.
We've found just a way to win. We've just found. The opening game, I was like, we're going to get slapped, and then Curtis Patterson pulls out one of the greatest 50s I've ever seen. Not in terms of strike rate or anything, but just how classy it was and how he never looked like, putting a step wrong until he lost his wicket. But I mean, what the Scorchers are doing right now is someone stepping up when they need to. It's been Patterson, it's been Munro, it's been Mitch Marsh. I mean, Mitch Marsh's innings was, I was like, praise Jesus, man, the Bison's here.
I think the one thing that's kind of somewhat looming over the Scorchers is, for me, what will happen if Marsh comes in a test squad. Because Green hasn't been playing that well, and they might stick to him. I think they will stick to Green, but there's that option with Mitch Marsh. He's in such good form to slot into where Green's banging the test. But I think even if you lose Marsh, you'll just end up gaining Green. And I think, either way, the Scorchers are going to go through. And I think they'll minimum get top 4. I don't see Sixers, Scorchers, or Stars finishing 5th. They're finishing in the top 4 and probably the top 3. But yeah, my favorites is still the Stars. I think I
like the Sixers. I think they've been Felipe. I think has been the player of the tournament so far. Henriques has reminded us how good he is. Like he's been great. But yeah, I think it's definitely one of those top 3 Stars, Scorchers, or Sixers that'll take it out.
Yeah. Tell us in comments which team you think will win. I get that commenting going up. So I'm saying Stars, Jace is saying Sixers.
I'll say Scorchers because I'm off.
I was going to say an honorary mention to Scorchers. Or
I'll say Scorchers.
Okay, so honorary mention to Sixers. So as a pair, we think it'll be the Sixers, Scorchers, or Stars. So yeah, so we'll move into the Ashes now, which has started the day 3 as of time of recording. I believe
Has it started? I think it starts half an hour.
Because it starts in half an hour of play, but the KO and the Fox broadcast, and I think 7 started now.
Yep.
So how have you, you've been watching the Ashes, right?
I have.
Yeah. Are you confident that Australia's going to win it?
Yeah, I don't see us losing. I mean, if we were going to lose any test match, it would have been Adelaide. It would have been the one we're currently in, the day-nighter, because of the conditions. The fact we lost Cummins, the fact we lost
Hazelwood. The first 2
Hazelwood.
tests that we were going to lose. Brisbane, because
Yeah,
of the first day was English conditions. But with no Braun, no Anderson, it favoured us, I think.
Yep.
I think Cummins did such a good job as captain in that first game as well. I think the second game would have been closer if England picked up more wickets on day 1. We weren't 2 for 200.
I mean, they really should have got more. They've been horrible in the field. It has to be said. They've been so poor.
I think they haven't helped themselves. But I also think Australia's just been playing way too good.
Yeah,
I think Australia's at a class above at the moment.
The only way this isn't a 5-0 series is if weather helps out England out. I don't see them winning a test.
I don't see them winning the Ashes back.
No, if they win a test,
I could see them winning one, possibly, just by the conditions working perfectly, and they hold all their catches, and Australia just go down the field and drop some.
It'd have to be another Stokes inning for them to win one, just like a miracle.
Yeah, I could possibly see them winning Hobart. I think that might be the one after this that they could win, but I'm not even that's a reach. I think
if they were going to win one, it would have been this one. This was everything was in their favour for this one, and they've just fumbled. And the fact that they're already 2 down, with 2 days left to play and 400 runs, but they could lose by innings really easily. Yeah. They're going to need someone to dig in and make a 150.
Which, I mean, Rui Milan tried doing that in Brisbane. They just both got out in the 80s, the high 80s and stuff.
Root's allergic to hundreds in Australia. He hasn't got 100 in Australia.
Yeah, I remember that point keeps getting brought up in commentary. I don't know. I feel like he might make one at one of the final 2 tests.
No, he's not. He's allergic.
I feel like he will. I feel like he will have to make one if England have any chance of getting close.
They don't have a chance.
Of getting close to win a game. He needs to make 100.
This is their best chance right now, and they're fucking losing by 400 runs. they're not getting close. The only way they get close is if weather helps them out. If fucking lightning strikes down Marnus Labuschagne, that's the only way they get anywhere near.
Even if we lose Marnus, Smith will go up to 3.
They're done.
The native they've got is Smith. If we lose Marnus, Smith will just go up to 3, and Kawaja will slot in.
Yeah, they're done. They're done.
Yeah, our batting strength is in good form. I guess a question is, do you see Harris opening this entire series?
No,
or do you see
Kawaja will come in. If he doesn't get run, if he doesn't make, it depends on how high of a quality or high importance it is. If he makes a super important knuckle down 60, 70, he could retain his spot.
But if he makes another test after this, or
yeah, I'll give him one more. So
you're giving him Sydney?
It's just the natural thing. You don't change a winning formula. But if we draw one, I think he gets dropped. And if he doesn't make any runs next test, or if there's another innings in this match, then I think that Kawaja will come in.
Okay, I think I like George Bailey backing Harris before the series, but Harris just hasn't warranted that spot, I think.
He was great in Sheffield Shield. That has to be said. He was fantastic for Victoria.
One of the growing things I saw on KO was they brought up his past 20 test innings, He has one score above 20, I think, in that. But the teams he's facing is England and India. Like, he's facing the top teams. And, like, what I think Australia needs to do is they have to find an opener. Like, Pekovsky is that opener, I think.
Yeah, Will's that guy, but
they just have to back him. They have to choose someone to back him.
He's injured, though.
That's the thing. Like, as much as I think Kawaja should play, I honestly kind of just want them to back Harris for this entire series. Because I think they just have to... Because as much as Kawaja, I think, is probably the better choice, it's like, if you back Harris now, he might give you good competition for Pekovsky.
Yeah.
And I think there's somewhat...
It's just like the romantic in me. It's the romantic in me that wants Kawaja. Because if Kawaja doesn't play this test, he will not play another test. I think he's at the end of his career internationally, at the very least. So if he doesn't play this one, like, it was a shock that he even got called up. Even though he was playing fantastic for Queensland, I mean, it was just like, it was just befuddling that someone like of a Kawaja nature. It was like when Sean Marsh was being rumoured to come back. He was just like, he's getting on in age now. I think he's definitely not in the future plans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just romanticizing with the fact that Kawaja gets, because we love Kawaja, everyone loves Uzi, and he's like, gets one more test, go out there, make a nice 50, make a ton, put the butt up.
I would love for Kawaja to play, because I think he does deserve in the form he's got, and the fact that he has opened before and played well there. I think for me, I probably would have... I don't know if I would have played Harris initially. I don't know. I think
he was in good form. He was in good
but
form.
so was Kawaja, and that's the... I think there was so much... With Harris, Kawaja, and Head all in good form with only 2 spots. I think, in all honesty, Kawaja's only spot was to open. I don't think he would bat 5. I would say Head at 5 and probably Kawaja to open. I think that's probably how I would have gone initially. Because you also then have Kawaja playing on his home ground first. And I think that, as a return, is a lot easier than having him play. Like, I don't think Harris plays well at the Gabba either, so he had, like, a really tough first ground to play at. So...
Yeah, not ideal.
I think... Nessa and Richardson playing, I think, is, like, a really good thing.
Really cool. Nessa got his first wicket and, like, his second ball. It was dope.
I'll be honest, when Richardson was announced to replace Hazel, I was like, oh, that's a bit mean to Nessa. Because he's been there for so long as 12th man.
Yeah.
Like, when Hazel was dropped, I was like, okay, play Nessa. Give it to him. Give him that, like, shot. And
did you see Richardson swing on the ball?
No.
He looked unplayable.
Like, that's what they said in the Nets and stuff. Like, he's been insane, Sheffield. Like, he deserves to play, but, like, in my head, I was like, come on, give Nessa that cap. He deserves it. He's been playing so consistently and stuff. So it's bad that happened because of Cummins being in a close contact, having to isolate. But the good thing is Australia's got such good fast bowling stocks.
Well, our depth is insane.
Better
than it's ever been.
I think our openers need more depth. I think most other positions are fine. Like, even keeper, Payne dropped down. Perry and Inglis were there. I mean, you had Neville if you wanted to go back to him.
Wade even.
Yeah, Wade. You got Felipe as always playing well in T20 cricket. He was playing well for WA. Like, there's so many options for keeper, and I think even all rounders we got, because you got Marsh and Green as like the 2 standouts. I think Australia's got so much depth everywhere except opening. That's the one spot we gotta find someone. Because the thing is, Pekovsky would get that spot, I think, guaranteed if he didn't have that concussion.
Yeah.
And it's something that...
It's a poor kid, man. He's had such rotten
He's in, like, I think he's in double digits for concussions now. Like, it's just... like, it's just unlucky for him. Like, he's just had, like, one after another, and it's just been so unlucky for him.
Got a feel for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Do we want to talk about wrestling, or do we want to go towards ending this? It's been 50 minutes. You want to talk about wrestling?
We can briefly mention it. We can have
yeah, so we'll move into wrestling. So, well, we had Winter is Coming happen
We
a few
did.
days back, and we're heading to WWE Day 1. So,
Yes.
what's been... You're an AEW fanboy.
I am. I
Um,
could go get my jumper, but I don't want to.
I don't watch wrestling unless it's a WWE pay-per-view because I have a network, or an AEW pay-per-view with CM Punk on it.
Yep.
The AEW pay-per-view I watched was the Punk debut.
All
So
out.
yeah. So what's been your like? Where do you see AEW going, and kind of with the potential of so many like Kyle O'Reilly being there, Wyatt being there, or the Ring of Honor guys? Like, where do you see AEW going with this like massive amount of talent they can take and the current talent they have?
Well, AEW's kind of like this indie fantasy land where
Yeah.
it's like it's this indie fantasy land where everyone that's anyone comes across and is just am I good? Am I good?
Yeah, it's coming back.
Okay, sorry.
It's a bit delayed, but that's...
Yeah, sorry.
Why is that delayed?
Uh,
Oh well. Sorry, video viewers.
am I good? Am
Oh
I
yeah,
good
you're
now?
back now.
Am I
I think
good?
it's happened twice now. Yeah. The
I
audio
do
still comes through, it's
apologize.
just visual. But that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's just my internet stuttering. But
No one's watching this for the video content an hour deep. They're watching for the banter, the conversation.
but yeah, it's this indie fantasy land where just all the like obviously I'm fairly new to wrestling,
Yeah.
but just given the context of everything and the histories of the people there, it's just insane. Like the one that's
Greatest thing. Sorry to like interrupt in this, but
no,
saying like the
it's all good.
history. The greatest thing is that AEW, unlike WWE, actually like talk about them being in other companies, and that adds so much because they're such a
They
young
embrace
company.
it.
It adds
They
so
embrace
much
it.
to the hardcore fans, which is most of their fan base, I think, is that
Yeah.
hardcore fan. So allowing people to go and telling them this guy wrestled for Ring of Honor, he's now with us, and you're still kind of using that character progression, is so nice for the hardcore viewers because they're feeling rewarded because they've watched Ring of Honor, they're now getting rewarded by watching AEW.
Yeah, yeah. It's so cool to see because there's just matchups there that I just like. If you told me MJF versus CM Punk was on the horizon, like a year ago, I would have said you're smoking mad reefer, bro. Like that's just insane.
Yeah.
Like the promo battle they did, it's the thing is because I was just like when I was getting into it, obviously WWE was basically the only thing I could watch. Like I could watch some clips of New Japan, but especially when I was first starting, like first starting, I didn't want to watch anything that wasn't like in English speaking, right? So just watching the WWE, I came accustomed to it, right? And granted, the people on that programming, and I don't want to just completely shit on WWE because they do a lot of good shit. They do a lot of good stuff, and it's almost like this bandwagon rhetoric that people are like, "Oh, WWE bad," which is just ridiculous, right? Although I will say they definitely take it a more corporate direction, whereas AEW they're much more respectful of the in-ring performance.
I think the biggest thing is what they are. So AEW is a wrestling company. And like Dolly will say this, they are a entertainment company. Like they take it from two different points. Like if you look at Dolly as sports entertainment, as entertainment, it's good. Like,
It's like
there's some
reality.
negatives and stuff, but like overall for what it is, it's good. As a wrestling show, it's not good. Like there's not as much wrestling as you would want on a wrestling show. But that's not what it is.
Yeah.
I think with AEW, it's a wrestling show with lots of wrestling and then bonus of stories and stuff. I think the reason why there's so much negativity around WWE is because they've just been doing these like releases every few months, and that's caused so much negative thing on them.
Well, they basically had this policy that they were just like, we'll sign everyone and then competition won't exist. And now because of COVID and they needed some way to continue making progressive profit. They were just like, what's our biggest expense? Employee wages. We're just going to sack off everyone that we don't consider vital.
Like, the biggest thing is when Gallus Anderson re-signed, they were given monstrous deals because they didn't want them going to New Japan, or it wasn't AEW, it was New Japan at that time.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want them going to New Japan. They wanted to keep them because they're like, we want to be the biggest company around. You're staying with us. So they offer them massive deals. And at the end, they're like, well, we're paying too much. Let's get rid of them.
Yep.
Like, they're not thinking ahead as much as they should be in the future, going like, okay, is this guy actually going to be good for us? Who cares? Sign him. We don't want them having him. Sign him.
True. It was better. It was like better we have him and do nothing with him than someone else turns him into a star.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially this, because I was watching this, I'm trying to find terms that don't sound like I'm like hate bashing, because the term that comes to my mind is like neglectful of the talent they have, which isn't true. Like it is like in the essence of what I'm trying to get across, but it's like it's poor wording.
Yeah.
But they weren't utilizing their talent, and you come to watch AEW because like it was a completely new company, and I was like, cool, I can watch this from the start. And they had some recognizable names to launch. They had Jericho, they had Cody, like people I'd known of. And then like it's so cool for me because I get to watch and grow with this company, and they introduce stars to me. Whereas like when I'm watching, like even when I'm talking with you and Jack about WWE in the past, you'll make references that I'm not sure of. So it's like I'm a little like disconnected there. Although I think I've put in a lot of work to try understand the history and try to learn a little bit.
Sometimes Jack and I do references that one of us don't understand either, because we weren't growing up watching wrestling when the early 2000s or in the Attitude Era. We weren't born in the Attitude Era, so we didn't watch that. We've gone back and watched some pay-per-views. Like, I've watched pay-per-views that Jack hasn't. Jack has watched matches from not WWE that I haven't. Like, there's that difference of each fan, because we're in our, like, getting towards 20s now.
It's crazy to think that, isn't it? Oh, Jesus.
Lol's already 20, so we're fine. We're not as old as him. We're still young.
We're still there. We're still there.
And like, we're kind of growing as we're growing. We're kind of leaving. Like, what I think is going to happen is, like, I'm going to start leaving watching WWE. I've only watching the pay-per-views now. I don't even watch. I rarely watch clips of it. I watch. Like, I was going to start watching AEW, and I've just been watching every Punk MJF clip every week. Like, every time there's one, I'm like, I'm watching that. I'm watching that. I'm watching that. And like, I'm a big like Punk mark, and I don't. Yeah, I'm happy to admit that and stuff. Like, I'm a big Punk fan. Like, if Punk is on the screen, I'm going to watch it. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's you with like Ospreay and probably Shinsuke. If you see them, and it's like Ospreay probably more. Like, if you see Ospreay, you're like, I'm watching that.
Yeah,
with Shinsuke now, you're probably going like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, he's teaming with Boogs, taking on Corbin and Happy Moss. I was gonna say Moss. I was like, that's not it. You go, I'll skip that. I'll skip this week. Like, that's kind of the thing, is like, you have these wrestlers you want to watch, and AEW gives you that like wrestling match that us as fans like to watch.
I mean, the biggest thing that allured me was the fact that I could join this company from the start. I can learn everybody. I can be involved. I can grow attached to characters.
Such a like, because the WWE's been around so long, it's trying to introduce, like, the thing is having every show as someone's first. Like, I think I've heard that as like a YouTube creator saying, like, every video is someone's first video. So you gotta make every video exciting, worth watching. Like, that's what you kind of have to do with TV as well.
Yeah.
Especially with being such a long company. I think the problem with WWE is that they try doing that with like these recaps they do every week. The problem is you're not rewarding the fans that have been watching every week. You got balance bringing in new people and keeping them, and making sure the old ones are being rewarded for continuing to watch.
The truth is, WWE simply don't care.
Yeah, if they're making money, they're happy.
They care far more about making a profit than creating content that
is good.
They would find like, yeah, good. I get it. Good, simple way to put it. Just good. Which is fair enough. I mean, they are a company; they're looking to make money, but it just isn't appealing to someone that hasn't watched WWE their whole life.
Yeah.
Because there's no love mark for me there. Like the reason I got into wrestling, the reason I watched WWE is so I could talk to you and Jack about it, so I could grow attached and we could like have something else to talk about. So, and now the fact that I feel like I know the fundamentals, I haven't, like, I don't remember the last time I watched. I keep up to date with WWE, but I can't remember the last time I watched a Raw or a SmackDown.
Yeah, I don't watch Raw or SmackDown, or I don't watch the TV shows. I watch the pay-per-views every now and then.
Occasionally I'll tune into NXT.
I try getting to NXT, and then with the 2.0 thing, I'm like, I'll just stop for a bit. Like, I wasn't... when I was watching NXT, I wasn't... They didn't get me enough to continue watching.
War Games was good, if you saw that.
I've not seen that.
It was good.
It was a TV show, not a pay-per-view, so I didn't watch it. So the other like big wrestling that's happened recently for us, especially, was going to a live event.
Oh, true.
I didn't have this written down beforehand. I have notes for like topics we can talk about. I didn't have this written down beforehand until we started talking. I was like, wait, we watched Slam. For you guys that don't know, Slam is a wrestling company down here in Australia. They ran a show in Canberra about a week ago.
Club.
Yep, a week or two ago. Jace and I went with Jack, and it was about 3 hours. It was a lot of fun, and I thought
it was enjoyable.
We don't have to talk too much in depth. I thought kind of say it, give them very small amount of kind of exposure. But like, I think it's such a good show to watch, and it was really enjoyable to go to. I thought it was just kind of a good idea to kind of mention that. Yeah. They are having another one in March that we are planning to go to. That is also in Canberra.
They are nearly sold out of tickets, by the way.
For the one in March.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
We should get on that.
Okay, we'll look into that, but we'll move on now, and we will continue with the wrestling a bit by talking about a new series that's coming to the channel. This is a bit more of a segue than... We wouldn't probably do this normally, but I think it's a good way of getting a segue in. Brand Warfare is a series that Jace, Jack, and I are going to be hosting on my channel about once a week, where we take control of one brand each from WWE with our own rosters, with our own signings, and we basically fancy book how we would book WWE. Now, I am Raw in that, Jace took over SmackDown, and we gave Jack ECW because, well, he needed a brand, and that's the one he wanted.
Couldn't give him NXT.
Yeah, we're not giving him NXT because where are we going to put all the developmental guys? So the draft is a 30-minute video go up probably about a week after this video goes live. We will then have me going through a roster review probably. I might bring Jace along for those, might not, we'll see. Then we'll head into the first 2 weeks. Now, the videos that were recorded so far are the first 2 Raws, the first 2 ECWs, and 1 SmackDown. When I head back down to Canberra, Jace, Jack, and I plan to probably hopefully get through that first month. So we have a good amount of videos for you to get to. But yeah, that's a new series coming to the channel that will hopefully be longer than all my other TW series, because this is...
It should be noted as well. It should be noted that this was recorded a year ago at this point now, maybe longer.
Yeah, I didn't want to edit it, I'll be honest. The draft went for 2.5 hours. You're welcome for editing down to half an hour, but it was a fucking pain to get through.
Yeah. But there might be some older references, like I think we call you Cornelius does stuff. So there's been a bit of a rebrand.
Yeah, I've rebranded. I think I realized this, so also kind of hyping other stuff. The Big Talk podcast, there will be an episode going live. There should be one in December. This is probably going to come out in December, so there'll probably be a Big Talk coming around this time. There'll also be a Big Talk episode in January on Max's channel, Comic Book Kid, that will be in person. We will it's either going to be Game Awards, or well, no, Year Awards live, like in person, or it'll be a Q&A. If it is a Q&A, in the comments, put down some questions you want me to bring up to the group. Yeah, so that is kind of my future plans and a bit of Jace's. But you mentioned earlier you have a YouTube account, you've posted some videos there. What is your channel going to? What is the next step for Tellix Esports and the
Well,
Tellix YouTube channel?
So as you were saying,
Yeah,
my
what's
plans
next
for
for
the
your
channel.
YouTube channel?
Well, right now I'm in a situation where I'm doing a Cert 3 in community services, and it is taking up all my time, and I'm just trying to commit as hard to that as I can. I did compete in a Valorant tournament this year, which I was compiling clips for, but I just got completely preoccupied with doing work that I just completely stepped away from it.
Yeah.
I might upload a video before the end of the year, maybe a what I want to do sort of video where I'm at.
We'll do a best of 2021 as well. Just across
No,
your 2 videos.
it'd just be a re-upload of the Raze experience.
Well, and some big talk clips.
Maybe one or two. But yeah, I'm in a situation where I'm doing a lot of work, and that's taking up all my time. But I haven't forgotten about the channel, and I'm still very interested to continue it. Next year, I'm definitely going to be doing some shit around the NRL because I'm a very passionate follower of that, and I'm keen to make some stuff around that. I want to continue my Valorant Experience series. I uploaded the Raze Experience. I've got one in the works to do a Cypher Experience, and I might just want to list off a bunch of characters from that. But they're all in the works. I did have plans to do some in real life stuff, do some skits and stuff, but they were coming to fruition as we went back into lockdown earlier this year, which kind of stifled it. So right now, I'm sorry, it's going to be a wait and see if you want content. It's basically going to have to be on Connor and Max's channels. But I haven't forgot about it, and there is stuff in the works. I will get a video out before the end of the year, even if it's just me talking about what I want to do. Yeah, that's about it. Basically, nothing's concrete now, but I promise I'm not forgetting about it.
Yeah, so as Jace mentioned, Jace is kind of very much on Max's channel consistently due to the podcast being Max's most popular series, it seems. Sorry, Max, but that is true. Your most popular series includes us. And I'm now taking that popular series and moving it to my channel with a lot less people and the same amount of time. Yeah, but like that's kind of thing. Like your channel is kind of there, and I've enjoyed the videos you have posted on your channel, and I want more. Like I am a fan of Tellix. I want more content from it because I enjoy those content. But it's also like you're able to continue doing your Cert 3 and then also podcasting out, doing the chat room with me, which is like a big thing for being the first guest. I start at the top. I start at the top and work my way down. It seems. So I don't know who's next between Max and Pilar. It's on the about the same level. I'll flip a coin.
JJ.
Now, JJ, I'll go through the big talk and then we'll go back up with JJ. Like that's the thing. You got to start high, go low, and then another climax, which will be JJ. And then I got to work out after that. I'll go Ray or Piyush next. I'll and then we'll go back to Jace.
And then I'll go back on episode 2.
We'll do seasons. We'll start each season with Jace. That's when you know there'll be a new season of Chat Room. It'll be another Tellix episode.
I'm a little landmark.
Yeah, is there anything like so? Your plan is to kind of do your Cert 3 and then head into being more consistent with YouTube, getting those experiences up, doing NRL. What is like? Are you going to? Because I know we've kind of joked about this, and you've joked about it with other people. Like, is streaming on the horizon anytime soon?
Maybe.
You know, a little bit to say.
I've dwindled with the thought. If I did stream, it wouldn't be consistent. It'd be out of the blue. It'd be very impulsive, but maybe I might.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of friends in the space, yourself included.
Link in the description to my Twitch channel.
So possibly.
I think kind of what is kind of the end. Like you kind of get like this is kind of the idea with the chat room. You'll get like the start, the massive talk. Somehow now over an hour. over double the time it was meant to go for. But you know what? When you're talking with like a friend, you're just going to continue talking. I know Max and I talked for like 6 hours, started like at 10 p.m. and didn't go to sleep till 4 a.m.
Jesus.
Yep. But yeah, so like kind of what Jace is. I'll try winding this down. It's kind of hard doing an outro when it's not scripted. I've realized if it's scripted, it's quite easy.
Yes.
Well, so what you guys can expect in the future? This is going up sometime December. So either if you watched all this, hit like button, subscribe. Merry Christmas if it's before Christmas. Happy New Year because it'll be before New Year's, hopefully. Because it shouldn't need that much editing.
Christmas is in a week. That's crazy.
Like, also go subscribe to Jace's channel. There will be a Brand Warfare video a week after this goes up, probably. There will also be a fantasy booking that I am doing that will go up probably in January, the beginning of January. Will be one that I know Jace will be excited about, and the plan will be to. He hasn't been told this, so he's just saying that to be nice. The plan is to do one of these chat rooms a month and a fantasy booking a month, and then Brand Warfare and maybe a solo TW series by me, because I want to start streamlining my kind of content as wrestling based with the chat room. But go over the Max channel as well, because that is where about 2 hours. Probably heard that. Came through Discord, so you probably heard it on the OBS recording. But that is where a 2-hour version of this kind of chat is normally placed, which is the Big Talk podcast. That is between 5 people. It's between me, Jace, Ed, Bilal, and Max, of course. We are there. We talk about stuff for anywhere from an hour, used to be an hour, to up towards 2.5 hours, which Max does not enjoy going through hand editing. And I'm the one that has to record those as well, so I don't really enjoy having a massive file for 2.5 hours worth of recording. So go over there and hit the subscribe button for everyone so you never miss a video from anyone in the Big Talk crew. That is what we're called, Max. We're not the podcast pals, it's the Big Talk crew. Yeah. So yeah, that's the outro, I guess. And this is what happens. I do the outro and then at the end I'm like, that's not really, I haven't like ended it.
You just gotta say thanks for watching, and then you stare at the camera.
Thanks for watching.
Stare with me.
You know, I'm going to start doing this. Thanks for watching. Kliq out.